for our side, Joe, is just one person that is spending, Giovanni, that is trying to connect. Maybe you will receive the notification to approve. Okay?
I don't see anything on my side.
Okay. You will continue trying. But if you want it, we can start.
Okay, perfect. So first off, I guess can everyone log into the inspection installation, okay?
I would make a quickly translation in the most part, okay, because the major part of people is not fluent with English. Yo dice que por favor todos se conecten a su acceso.
So is everyone able to log in?
We will start with RBI or by IDN.
We'll start, well, I mean, realistically, your project's centered around RBI, so we'll be focusing mostly on RBI. There's a little bit of setup in IDMS, but we'll focus on RBI. So is everyone logged in? Can I begin?
Todos están conectados para que pueda empezar. Por favor, avisen. Andrés, mensaje. Okay, George.
Okay, good. So to first, let's back it up here. When you first log in, you probably see something similar to this. You probably won't see this because it's internal tool for ANTA staff. So we can start by clicking on the RBI icon. Then sorry.
Yeah, just you will have to give me just some seconds to translate some parts. The most important that you are talking, okay? Ya, ustedes van a ver en el acceso los dos ingresos, el de IDMS y el de RBI. Los otros dos que aparecen en pantalla son para donde uso interno de Antea.
Am I good?
Yeah, please.
I don't know if you can stop me and translate every time. It's going to take us quite a while to get through if that's the way we conduct the training.
Oh, and then we will do something because if you can send us the, the record of the session, we can make an online translation after. Okay, then
Oh,
you can
that's perfect.
if someone has a question, you will make it to me in Spanish and then I translate to you.
Oh, for sure. There's no issues with questions
I think
at
that is
all.
a better option now.
It's just it'll take quite long if that's the way
Yeah,
we
yeah.
conduct the training.
Okay, let me just advise to everyone that that will be the methodology.
Okay.
Okay. Bueno, vamos a hacer una explicación corrida de Joel en inglés. Y únicamente cuando se detenga y haga preguntas, ahí ustedes pueden usarme a mí para traducir las preguntas que tengan. Después nos va a pasar la sesión grabada y nosotros podemos traducirla del inglés al español. ¿Ok? Please continue. Go.
Okay, perfect. So to create a new study, a new RBI study, risk-based inspection study, we can use this button here called New Study. I don't know how you want to name this study.
It's CCLCD.
What was it? Sorry.
CSLCD. I will write it in chat. Okay.
What? Sorry. I don't see anything in the chat.
Yeah.
I see people typing, but there we go. The state, so there's just two states, open and closed. We'll obviously be in the open state while we're conducting the actual RBI study. We can do quantitative, semi-quantitative, or qualitative. We don't have necessarily out-of-the-box semi-quantitative, so probably we'll want to do quantitative, I imagine.
We have some few inspection information, then we will have the middle option. Doesn't it?
I can not really hear you. I'm sorry. It's very low.
Now it is better.
It's better, yeah.
Yeah. We have a very low, very few information about inspection of the plant. Then I assume that will be semi-quantitative the option. Doesn't it, Andres?
We don't have semi-quantitative out of the box. It's either qualitative or quantitative. Okay. Semi-quantitative, we usually have to develop that methodology in tandem with the customer or the client or whoever.
Okay. Andrés, entonces utilizaríamos el cualitativo, ¿no? la cantidad tan baja de datos que tenemos de infección.
Can I continue? Or?
Yeah, continue.
So you can choose between the balanced risk matrix or the unbalanced risk matrix here. So if I hit save, this is what the balanced risk matrix looks like, and then the unbalanced just kind of skews the risk categories, as we'll see here. If I hit unbalanced, you can see it looks different. The traditional kind of matrix people use is generally the balanced one, but those decisions are left up to you guys. Okay, so we have kind of the basics set up here. So down here we can see the results. We won't talk about this right now. We'll wait till we actually get some results. So at the top here, now that we have the study created, we can see on the left-hand side our study name and then the creation date. So as you create open new studies, they'll start to list here, and you can click on the row to access the details of that study. So if we created another open study, we would have another row in this table here. RBI study configuration. So this is kind of a tab where we need to set up some details. So I can go over here on the right-hand side and hit edit. I need to choose first the unit of measure. So are you going to be mostly using feet squared and inches, or more so meters squared and millimeters, that sort of thing? Which system of units do you use? Hello?
Put it international, please.
And then
Yeah, please. Sorry, Joel. I have a problem with my microphone, but yeah, international it's good.
okay, awesome. So we'll check this box off down here in the quantitative analysis area to enable that quantitative analysis. This shouldn't be showing here. This is for another client. I'll have to ask about that. But what we're selecting here is how the probability of failure is calculated. Will it be using 581 rules, or does it take the max damage mechanism factor, or does it sum them all? Probably we'll want to use 581, but I'm not sure.
Which of those three options you will check, Andres? Tu micrófono. Okay, continue, Joe.
So now the next part here, we need to select the damage mechanisms that apply to the facility as a whole. So these are considered kind of the global settings for the RBI study for damage factors. And then at a later stage for each area of each particular asset, we'll set those damage mechanisms as well. But at this stage, if it can be predicted to show up anywhere in the plant, we'll want to be sure to go ahead and select it here. So with further information is required from you guys here.
Okay.
So like on the left-hand side, we have stress corrosion cracking, high temperature hydrogen attack, metal fatigue, brittle fracture, lining, general thinning, and external corrosion.
Okay, it's better to have it all included and then asset by asset
Okay.
use it, select the ones that is necessary to have. Doesn't it?
So we can go save up here. And now we have our study configured mostly. The next kind of final part is to actually add the items to the RBI study. Because at this stage, if I click on the RBI results tab, we have no assets showing here because they're not quite yet created or added to the study. So we can use these assets that Evelyn sent me as examples, starting with this vessel, C302. So let's go try and find C302. So at the top here on this yellow bar, if I click Asset Registry, this will bring us into the IDMS. So one thing to note here, if I go in the username button, we can change applications. We have IDMS, which is Inspection Data Management System, and then the RBI. However, you don't need to be inside IDMS to access RBI. Like you can access RBI within IDMS. I don't know who created another study here, but you'll want to make sure to add something besides just the same name. It almost shouldn't have let you even save that, to be honest, but you'll want to have some, like put your name here or training or something.
Just let me advise to them. No se olviden que la plataforma, todos están conectados a la misma plataforma y el acceso es para todos los que están en línea, ¿ok? Entonces, si generan alguna línea para práctica, tienen que cambiarle el nombre para que no haya conflicto con lo que le está mostrando. ¿Ok? Gracias. Yes.
Thanks, Fernando.
You can erase the other one. Okay?
Are you sure? It's okay to have it, but just like I say, we should
put it number 2 then.
Sorry? I'll go ahead and wipe it then.
Okay.
So within the IDMS, so kind of as I was saying here, we're in the IDMS. You can see that by clicking in the top right corner. This is the icon of IDMS. But I can access RBI studies and the IDMS. And likewise, if I'm in RBI, I can access IDMS by clicking Asset Registry. This is effectively the IDMS, even though it says RBI up here. All our applications are integrated, meaning the data is shared across all of them, and that you can see everything kind of you need to in across different apps. So, but what we need to do now is try and find our asset of interest right now, C302. Seems like it would be a column from the C. But let's use the search to try and find that. So we can click in the top right search bar, C-302, hit enter, and I can see that it's created here. So when I click on an asset, the data sheet loads for it, and then we have all these different subtabs where we can look at information related to the selected asset. So if I click on schematics P&IDs, we'll see the asset's P&ID location here. See this column here? And I could click on another asset, and now it's selected in the tree. But if I want to go back, I can just find the tag here, C302, and now I'm on C302. That's really cool. But back to focusing on RBI. This RBI data tab, this is kind of how you can have RBI data exposed into the IDMS. So it's kind of a quick way to look at the RBI results and RBI kind of aspects without having to go into the RBI study and dig deep into the RBI study to find the details. Once we're done, we'll be able to see a summary of stuff here. But it's also where we need to set up some aspects in order to actually get it into the RBI. So first couple things here, we can add the damage factors if we would like. Or we can have them populated from the RBI study. Let's actually just let this be, and we'll populate them from the results of the RBI study. But you can also, if you wanted to add them manually, you notice you can do this here as well. But we'll come back to this. What we really need to focus on at this stage is creating what's called an RBI part for this column. So since it's a column, traditionally in RBI, what you do, or at least in the context of 581 RBI, is you split the column up into 3 sections: the lower, the middle, and the top of the column. So you complete an RBI study on each of these 3 sections, since these 3 sections could have different operating conditions, different phase. So it could be liquid, vapor, or it could be just vapor, just gas, depending on what is actually happening in that portion of that column. And so and it could be a different material construction, all these things that are going to basically combine together to dictate what damage mechanisms are active in that portion of the column. So I'll do that by clicking New. The ID we can skip. You'll notice if you try and put anything in here, it's not possible. The RBI part. So people will often kind of name it like this. Oops. So I have the 3 of them created now. So these are the RBI parts that are created. On the main data sheet, in this main data area, if I scroll beneath the data sheet, there's a chambers area. And we can create these chambers here and actually have the design and operating data for the chambers.
Chambers will appear as a part, or
I'm sorry?
the chambers will appear as a parts in the other page.
In the other section, yeah, we'll connect them basically. I'll show you how to connect them. Oh, couldn't see. I had to guess. So on the RBI data tab, we can actually connect those as well.
Okay. Then component is a chamber in the other
Yeah.
page. And in these RBI parts, we can put it directly component without putting part, for example, to connect.
Sorry?
If we can put it directly there, component instead of part, and have to link it without needing to put it part name.
I'm not sure that I'm following the question.
If we can, in this part, write or select directly the component instead of write the parts.
Yeah, so I think I get what you're asking.
Yeah,
On the components tab here, we'll see the chambers, and in each chamber I can create and actually create components. Sorry, I don't know why that happened. So now I've created a head underneath of this bottom. For instance.
we can.
And then now if I go back over here, now I have that head. So you can select the component, but I think we usually set it up as the chamber because the chamber is a collection of components. I don't know. Because that's the kind of the idea of the chambers is I would now create also a shell course. Oops. I won't name it because I'm kind of off topic here, but basically you can create all the shell courses, all the nozzles, all the components in that bottom section, and you can nest them underneath of that chamber. And you can do it from the middle and top, but so here we can put in some more information for the chambers on the RBI parts page. I'll skip material for a second as well as inventory group. We'll come back to those maybe, but for now, component type. So this is the column top half, column middle, column bottom. So for each of these now we can put the corrosion allowance, the geometry type, and the nominal thickness. If somebody wouldn't mind, actually, I send you guys these documents, or do you have access to them? If you wouldn't mind trying to find that information for me, that would be helpful. It would help speed things along. We need corrosion allowance as well as the nominal thickness.
Si alguien le ayuda a conseguir esos datos de ese ejemplo, cuál es el valor de corrosión permitida de las tres secciones y el espesor nominal en la torre de 302.
So here I've defined the middle section as a cylindrical shell. And we'll also need to know the head type. So is it a elliptical head or is it a toruspherical head? Hemispherical head.
De cabezales también para la parte superior y la parte inferior. Si pueden revisarlo ahí en la torre.
Joel, just a question. Do we need to update all this information manually in the web system, or we can upload massively with Excel sheet or something?
So you can do it with an Excel sheet, but It's important to also cover how it's done in manually in the UI as well.
Cuando tengan los datos, lo van pasando, por favor.
¿Qué datos son los que necesitamos en él? ¿Puedes repetir?
Tipo de cabezales, inferior, superior. Corrosión permitida, inferior, media y superior. Y espesores nominales, inferior, medio y superior. Relatorio.
Thank you, Evelyn. Do we know if it's a torus spherical head or an elliptical head?
Cabezal periférico o elíptico. O semiesférico. Yes. Just choose one and we can continue then we can rate it.
I mean, this is your actual installation, so it'd make more sense to be right than to just start putting random values in here.
Okay.
Otherwise, you run the risk of making errors in your project deliverables.
¿Encontraron la forma en los cabezales?
We also need the nominal thickness.
Joe,
Yes?
in the chat, elliptical health, head, goat.
Oh, yeah. I'm waiting on the nominal thickness.
Okay. Espesor nominal de los cabezales y del cuerpo.
$30 milímetros en el cuerpo.
30.
So
Yes.
the bottom head is 1.18.
Estoy buscando la memoria de cálculo, pero está hecha en PBLita, así que es un poco difícil. No tiene un cuadro resumen por elemento. Así que estoy mirando uno por uno.
The shell has 30 millimeters.
Sorry? 30 millimeters?
Yeah. In convert you to have 1.18 before the same that elliptical.
The top and bottom head is 30 millimeters.
Joe, 1.18 is the rounded number. It is 30 millimeters.
All of them are 30 millimeters?
Yeah. 30.
Okay, sorry.
So whatever.
Okay, good. So for the material now, this area up here, sorry.
No, it's there in the chat.
Oh yeah, I see it in the chat. There's 5/16, 70. But so we'll need to add this into the materials table. So if we go up here in the left-hand corner and we see this base tables menu, we can click material. We can just quickly add this. Oh, it's not end. Base material. You can hit save. Oh, sorry. There's one more step here. For the materials, we need to define these fields. I don't know if any of these actually apply or not. We can leave these for now. Okay. And we'll make sure to apply this here. Oh, I gotta refresh. And then it will be an option in here. I assume they're all 570 or 516/70. Let's go back to the RBI study. Actually, I think we can fill in some of these values. I'm pretty sure we can pull these into the RBI study as well. We can do the design conditions for the bottom. So the design minimum pressure, maximum pressure. Do we know those values?
Are in the table that put it Santiago in the chat.
Is that the minimum or the maximum? Or just
You have the first column is design pressure. The second one is maximum allowable working pressure corroded. The third one, maximum allowable pressure new and cold.
is it under full vacuum? Or can it be? Do we know the design temperature?
Santiago, ¿puedes fijarte la temperatura de diseño?
Ok.
Uh, 400 Fahrenheit.
The max. So will it be the same for middle? Yes.
400 Fahrenheit.
And the pressure. 21.4 still.
Pressure, you want to put it PSI is 300.
That's fun. We'll leave it this way. For the fluid, this is also just like the materials, it's in a table. So we have the fluid table. So do we know the fluid? in the top, middle, and bottom.
GLP gasoline.
I'm sorry, your mic is very low still.
¿Puedes fijarte el fluido en las tres secciones cambiado? En la hoja de datos no se ve nada. Es que
GLP and gasoline.
here just show liquid gas petroleum and gasoline. Not showing for separate.
And what was the other one? Liquid what, sorry?
I put it in the chat.
Okay.
And there shows operating temperature top and bottom, operating pressure, and density top and bottom too.
Okay. So this is the same fluid in all three chambers?
In the fluid, they put it there, CLP for the top and gasoline for the bottom.
So these are two separate fluids. Okay. I'm sorry, can you repeat those? What in the top and what in the bottom?
CLP for the top, gasoline for the bottom. Here you will have both.
Like that? We can change these colors. Did you say something about the middle?
I assume that you have both of them. You know.
Right. We can also put the fluid state for the bottom, middle, and top. So this is probably just gas, is it?
Gasoline is liquid. A esa presión 257 el GLP está en estado líquido, ¿no?
Oops. Oops, that's the wrong one. Sorry. So that's how you can set up the chambers and the RBI parts. Some of it, like some of that data entry, you can just do in the Excel loader, so you could skip that. But at the very least, you do need to create these RBI parts, or else you won't be able to add them into the RBI study. So if we go back to our study configuration page, remember this select the items button. So I can select the item. We can open up our tree here. This looks just like the asset registry. Find C302. We can add our parts in here. We can remove them, and then I can actually just add sub items. So I don't even need to open that and select each one. I can just select them all in one shot by using the sub items. So now in our table, we'll have our 3 parts here. So there was a question earlier about an Excel sheet. So if we want to access the Excel sheet, and in your guys' case, I imagine you'll want to make good use of the Excel sheet because you're going to be doing a larger study. You're not just doing it unit by unit or something. Import export, download quantitative, and this will download some Excel sheet. So here's the Excel sheet. So we can fill that in, but let's do one actually in the UI, in the user interface, and then we'll do the middle using the Excel or something. So if I click on the top row here, actually let's go ahead and take a like 10-15 minute break or so. We'll come back in 10 minutes, and then we'll get through. We'll actually walk into the calculation of the probability of failure and the consequence of failure to get the risk. So I'll see you guys in 10 minutes.
Okay. Por receso de 10 minutos dice para que empecemos a ver todo el día de el cálculo de probabilidad.
Okay, thank you.
All right, let's get started again.
Okay.
So we have our column here now added to this RBI study. We split it up into 3 chambers. We added some data. There's an opportunity here to populate data. So we can copy from the data sheet. This will allow us to basically leverage some of that data entry that we did previously on the IDMS side of things. This will import those values into the study. Not all of them, but some of them. So we can now right-click the top row, and we'll access a menu here. What we want to do at this point is choose quantitative safety analysis. This will open up a pop-up window where we can expand. And this is actually going to be now entering in the details for required for the probability of failure and the area consequence area. So the first step here on this side of things is to choose the damage mechanisms that apply to this selected chamber. So right now we're doing it on the top part of the column, and we need to turn off the boxes here basically that don't apply. So thinning, I imagine, applies, but is there a lining present?
Yes, the column has line. Oh, internal lining or
Yes.
no? That's
Brittle fracture?
Andres.
Brill, I don't think so. Do you have, Fernando? No, Bruno, ¿tienes la temperatura de operación?
162 está en el cuadro que pagué aquí. De 162 a 326 Fahrenheit.
En centígrados, ¿cuánto es? Ya mira. Una second. Celsius. No, it's 72 centigrades, but maybe it's not susceptible for Brill.
External corrosion, so is it insulated?
Yeah, it's insulated.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a potential for chloride stress corrosion cracking?
Potencial a stress corrosion cracking.
With chloride.
Andres.
Could you repeat, please? I have issues with my network.
Si es potencial a stress corrosion cracking.
Este es corrosion cracking. ¿Qué material es, Bruno?
Acero al carbono 516 y 70.
No.
70.
It's carbon, but it's not susceptible for stress corrosion cracking.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. The last one is metal fatigue. Probably not.
For that temperature, no.
And then also high temperature hydrogen attack.
No, because there is not free hydrogen.
All right, great. So we have our damage factors selected. Over here on the right-hand side, these 3 boxes can be used to write down assumptions with respect to damage mechanism, mechanical inspection, and then process. So any assumptions that you make along the way, you can use these 3 text boxes to basically notate those assumptions, which is quite helpful and important. So now we can walk through these general details here. You'll notice that because of the way that we just took the time to walk through and set up the IDMS, by populating the data using this button here, populate data from datasheet. Now we actually have these values already in here. So it can save you time, but all depends. Maybe you just want to use the Excel sheet at the gates, like right away. But at any rate, we'll continue and walk through these questions here. So is the insulation free of chlorides? Or is there chlorides present in the insulation composition?
Puedes fijarte el tipo de aislante térmico, si tiene o no presencia de cloruro. It's mineral wood.
¿En dónde podemos encontrar esa información? Lo único que tiene en plano es que es lana de vidrio. Lana mineral, perdón.
It's all your.
I didn't know.
Sorry? There is chlorides?
Yeah, it's mineral wood, and then can have small quantities of chloride.
Oh, okay. Perfect. It's my mistake. I misheard. Cladding? Oh yeah, and that's another thing. So if I hover here, it'll give you a pop-up and explain more what the parameter means.
Yeah.
So determine if the material construction has cladding.
No.
So this has come from the IDMS already. Same with this. There's no crack present. Next question, design temperature. I'm not sure why that didn't come over.
This top?
Yes.
162 Fahrenheit degrees.
Fahrenheit. So we need centigrade because we chose the International System of Units at the very beginning.
It's 72.22.
Thank you. So to enter, yes, go ahead.
Was giving you the operational temperature. The design temperature is 400 Fahrenheit.
Right. Let me convert that for you.
204. 44.
So to to modify the values here, all I'm doing is double clicking on the row, and then now notice it becomes enabled to be edited, and I can hit save. I can also use the keyboard. So right now I'm hitting the up and down arrows on my keyboard, and if I hit enter, it'll allow me to enter value, and then I just hit enter again to save it. So for the diameter, go ahead.
Yeah, show diameter, but no indicate if it's internal or external. I assume that it's internal, doesn't it? Because we have thickness data.
Outside diameter.
It's outside.
Yeah, sorry. It should probably have it written here, but if you hover, it says in this description the outside diameter.
Okay. That is in the description. Okay, perfect.
Yeah, it should probably say in the name too. Sorry about that, but so the outside diameter was what value? Sorry.
¿Puede fijar en el plano el diámetro exterior? Prende tu micrófono. ¿Cuánto?
$3,412 milímetros.
3,412 millimeters.
Like that?
Yeah.
That's right.
Equipment type.
Column. Or pressure vessel.
Yeah, vessel in this case. Insulation. Yes. Lining, no. Cladding, no. So we can just leave this blank actually. Manual external corrosion rate. So this is the external corrosion rate or CUI corrosion rate.
That is a measure or
in this case, it says manual. So it's asking you if you have a manual value that you want to override, or if you're letting inspection measurements calculate it.
If we don't have any inspection measure, we left in blank.
Yeah, I think you would put no.
Oh, okay. Just put no.
Okay. We already have the operating conditions here. Pipe type is not applicable in this case. And then we have the maximum process pressure and the thickness of the base material. So we can hit save in the top right corner. And now we can move on to the probability of failure calculation. You could start with the consequence. I like to start with the probability of failure. So on the left-hand side, this is our output window. And on the right-hand side is our input window. So we can open up this tree. We see that the probability of failure is calculated by the damage factor, the management system factor, and the generic failure frequency. So as we start to input values on the right-hand side, over time, these values will start to populate. And if I click on a row on the left-hand side, it changes the input parameters on the right-hand side to be only the required parameters for the selected output. So here I've selected the GFF output parameter, And now we see on the right-hand side the 2 required input parameters. So if I click on PF, now we have all the required input parameters. So these ones are in green. They're coming over from the general tab. We've already put them in. Anything that's white may be eventually asked to input data. Gray is not required, or it's been basically denied or kind of excluded from the calculation. The yellow row is the next row that we have required data to put in. So if there's a screening of the corrosion mechanism that we want to activate, and I think we probably have, so we'll put this as yes. So is there any HCl corrosion presence?
¿Saben si hay presencia de agua o cualquier otro, alguna otra presencia que genere corrosión?
No creo, la verdad.
Esa amarilla es más para ácido clorhídrico. I don't think so. Yo,
High temperature sulfidic/naphthenic acid corrosion.
No, because this is a plant only for separation of fluid phases.
I assume this one's probably no as well.
Yep.
H2SO4.
No, too.
no.
HF is probably no. Sour water.
Yep.
Amine.
Oh,
High temperature oxidation.
Nope.
Acidic sour water. Cooling water. No.
Nope.
Soil side, so that's usually for tank bottoms or buried piping. CO2 corrosion.
Corrosión de CO2 dice. Nope.
Tank bottom. So this one here, this will define if the corrosion mechanism will be identified. Can't quite recall the difference. We'll just leave it as yes. So at this point, it's asking if the corrosion rate is an available datum point. So you could either have, like, basically, do you know the value for corrosion rate? Either through inspection, through a subject matter expert.
In this moment, no, we don't have any section that.
Is it pitting or generalized corrosion? Local or general?
yeah, maybe general, I guess. It's better.
Okay. Oops. So this is for the strength ratio parameter calculation. What it wants you to choose is either if the external pressure and/or structural considerations dominate the required thickness, or if internal pressure and hoop stress alone is the dominating factor for required thickness.
Okay, could be automatic.
Yes, it says also there's an option for automatic, which I think it'll ask you some more parameters. So this is the minimum structural thickness component for the base material.
En este caso, tendríamos que buscar si el espesor está regido por la presión interna, por la parte estructural, o por la presión externa. It's the internal pressure or the required thickness, because it's very new from 30 millimeters that you have in that table that put Santiago in the chat.
Okay, the tensile strength and yield strength of the material. In megapascals.
Listed tensile
Yeah,
stress.
tensile strength at the design temperature.
Mínimo.
Yeah.
But there is not a table with that information data.
Not at this stage, no. We're in the process of getting it from ASME, but currently we don't have that table.
Well, the normal range of this material is 485 megapascal to 620.
So 485. I mean, it should be listed with the design temperature.
Because it's a little higher the temperature.
I'm sorry?
Eso debe estar en la memoria de cálculo.
¿Qué necesita, ingeniero? ¿La presión interna?
No,
El UTS, el Ultimate Tensile Strength.
Ah, ok.
Y el Strength.
Lo busco. Deme un segundo.
What was the design temperature again? 535 Fahrenheit? 400.
400 Fahrenheit.
Yep.
There is a way, Joel, that we can put a table with all those information for the material.
Yeah.
In things exchange. Because
you go base tables, material, I select the material, it has the temperatures. So this is each design temperature, and then you have tensile strength, yield strength, and allowable stress.
Okay, and there's a way to import the table there?
Yeah, if you go base tables, import export tables, and the material. This will give you an Excel sheet.
And then I can put the information there and then import again. Does it?
Yeah. If we look at the Excel sheet, see this is the one I already created. Over here you have
The rest of the information.
and what you can do is you can basically copy and paste this. Oops, sorry. First, you actually have to unlock the sheet, unprotect sheet. The password is capital A and NTEA.
Okay.
But you can copy and paste these over. And what you're supposed to put down here is the temperature. So I could put like 20. Oops. You can basically put the design temperature below.
And the column for the temperature there, not appearing.
It should be just beneath, I believe. You would just repeat 20.
There you have the information. I will input it in the chat.
Oh, sorry. And here. Weld joint efficiency of this particular head.
La eficiencia junta del cabezal. There.
One. Thickness readings, you said you had no thickness readings. Is that correct?
Yeah.
The date of RBI, so I'll just put today's date. The installation date. When was it installed and serviced?
Tiene la fecha de instalación. ¿Qué fecha aparece? Que aquí la documentación está con mayo de 2011, pero no sé si esta es la fecha de instalación.
El plano está con 22 de julio del 2014. El último para construcción. Podría ser eso.
July 2014.
For the first. Coding, is there a external coding?
Yeah.
Yes.
When was the date of coding application?
Maybe it's the same, Fernando, the same date.
of the installation date.
We can use the same one because we don't
Yeah.
know that information for sure.
The coding of the quality. Poor, medium, or high?
Good question. We have to check it.
Okay, so this is a good example of, you could just put medium for now,
Yeah.
but then on the main page here, remember on general, so you can put assumptions here.
No, okay.
Here we have three codes. The sum of three of them is 320 micron. Then it's a good code.
Okay, it's high quality Java.
The driver here, so now it's asking about the atmospheric condition. If it's moderate, mild, dry, or severe.
It's a moderate.
Save. Complexity. So the number of branch connections, nozzles, pipe supports, poorly designed insulation, support rings.
It's above
Basically, it's above average.
the average, yeah. Because you have a lot of structures and connections for each height and the internal plate. So
Now we're considering the insulation condition based on a visual inspection of the jacketing, insulation jacketing. And you have to quantify it based on those three options.
¿Vieron esa torre del Lion? La condición del aislamiento. Santiago?
Sí, vimos la condición del aislamiento de bien, está en buen estado.
Average, and it's in good condition.
The type of insulation.
Mineral wood. Mineral wood.
Mineral wool.
Mineral wood, yeah.
Is there interface where water or soil can enter?
No.
We assume that.
So probably no for this as well. Is water enabled to be able to kind of pool up and increase metal loss?
Or piping support?
Well, it's called piping support, but realistically, that's just a term that's used in the 581, but it applies to equipment as well. It wants to know if the design allows for water to kind of build up and pool.
Yeah, I guess no, but I think in the API this is used for pipe support, yes. I'm not sure if this apply for this or is for this structural supports or whatever.
It applies for equipment and as well as piping. It's the CY basically is what we're walking through right now. The CY calculation.
Yeah.
Would it no because the kind of head and
Yeah, we could assume
Not a-
that is at this
not a
moment
design
no.
that could have water.
Okay. External corrosion rate data confidence, low, medium, or high?
Low. We don't have
Probably low. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. This one is the scoring of the management system in the facility.
for the moment they don't have it. I assume it's zero.
So I think 581 allows for a 50% in the event of not knowing.
Okay.
TFF type, people usually choose generic, but you can also evaluate it as a function of the hole size during a leak, a potential leak, but people often will put generic.
Yeah, please generic. I would like it's better for this.
And here we go. We have the probability of failure calculated. If we look on the left-hand side, why did it not evaluate thinning? It's kind of strange to me. Let me look at this. I'd like to ask somebody about this. It's kind of strange to me that the thinning didn't calculate. But we can see the external calculated here. So that's the value for the external damage factor. And the probability of failure value is up here. So now we can move on to the CA, which is the area consequence calculation.
Okay.
And
It's
you can see it.
immediate calculation in the probability when you put all the data, yes?
I'm sorry?
It's a immediate calculation from all the data we put.
Yeah, that's how it was calculated.
Okay.
Basically,
But
all our answers to the
we don't
question.
have to push any button or something. It's immediate.
Yeah, it's immediate, but
Nice. Great.
saving is always a good idea.
Great.
So now we can walk through a couple of questions for the consequence. So the representative fluid, there's 36 different fluids that you have to basically choose which one is best representative of your fluid.
Yeah, it's Fernando LP, as I can remember, but let me see. Sorry. It's C3, C4, I guess. Let me see.
C4 de propano. C4.
Yeah, C3, C4, yeah. Thank you. Digo, gracias, Bruno.
The top, so gas, I guess.
Yeah, it's a mix. I don't know how we can put this in the. We have used two options.
Excuse me, Andres.
Maybe for the consequence, it's better to put gas. It's
No, but
the worst scenario could be.
we are seeing the top chamber, then it's gas.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah.
Mitigation type. If I hover over here, we have four options, A, B, C, or D. And we're talking about the mitigation systems are designed to mitigate or reduce the consequence of release. And you can determine the mitigation type here. So A is inventory blowdown coupled with isolation system classification B or higher. Fire water deluge system and monitors, fire water monitors, or foam spray system. Talking about fire mitigation.
Tendríamos que monitores de agua, si tiene sistema de spray de espuma.
Se escucha muy bajo lo que habla.
Hay que fijarse el sistema contra incendio que tiene la torre. Si tiene un sistema con espuma o solo con monitores de agua o qué opción tienes.
Solo son monitores de agua.
Sí. Igual, Fernando, ahí en la etapa de consecuencia habrá que establecer un taller donde se confirme este tipo de cosas. Yo creo que en el momento que estamos no lo sabemos todavía, pero bueno, podemos poner lo que dice Santiago por water space.
Sí, solo tienen sistema contra incendio. Andrés, no hay espuma para la torre. Solo es el sistema contra incendio general de la planta.
Sí, hay que confirmar luego los talleres de consecuencia si tenemos un shutdown automático o no, porque también está esa opción.
Ok.
Yo use irons option. Option C.
Detection type.
There's something that we have to ask to the client.
Okay.
I assume that has to be inside of the operation of the plant. That is to ask. Esa planta tiene una escala, ¿no, Santiago?
Tiene un escala. Tiene detectores de fuego, si no me equivoco, pero en ciertas áreas.
We have to check if the SCADA system has the monitors in those areas that are the vessels or the column in this case.
Okay, you can check that then. The volume of the component.
¿Puedes ver el volumen almacenado de la torre de Santiago? La parte donde podemos sacar ese dato. Dice que está en la placa, ¿no? Eve.
A question, Raúl. There is not an automatic equation to calculate with the dimensions that we input in the software. We can always give the information for volume.
It doesn't calculate the volume for you now.
Sí, vemos que
Creo
sea.
que vamos a tener que generar una tablita adicional donde pongamos densidad y dimensiones generales y podamos calcular ese volumen para meterle el input.
Sí, sí, de acuerdo.
Porque aquí tenemos el diámetro interno y el largo, 144 pulgadas por 108 pies y 6 pulgadas. Tenemos la densidad, podríamos calcular el volumen.
En los planos una capacidad de 10.705 pies cúbicos.
Okay. The drawings is saying 10,750 square feet.
Square feet.
Yeah.
You mean cubic feet?
Cubic feet, yes.
I'll have to convert that. 1 sec. Sorry, can you repeat that cubic foot number? 10,750.
Yeah.
Thank you.
$303. Okay, yeah.
And then the inventory mass.
Eso sería multiplicándolo por la densidad, ¿no?
Sí, 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 sí.
Tenemos la mayor densidad, 28.7 libras por pie cúbico. ¿Alguien tiene un conversor para pasarlo en kilogramos por metro cúbico? $459.73 kilos por metro cúbico. ¿Estará bien? 139 toneladas, ¿verdad?
Eso calculo yo también.
Okay. Entonces sería 139,000. ¿Cómo se llama? 139,000. 139,944. I will write it.
Things like that. Thank you. Oops. So now we have our calculated area consequence in meters squared. We can hit save. Now if we hit inspection plan, we see our risk value here. Say category 3 in the probability of failure and a category C for consequence. So it's a 3C. On the left-hand side, we can set our targets for damage factor and for a risk. If I toggle here, we can see the risk plot on an ISO risk line. So probably you'll need to talk with the client about target values, I guess, unless you already have. Do you know the target values? Hello.
Hello. Yeah.
Do you know the target values for damage factor and target risk?
André, tenemos valores target.
No, en este momento. Pero generalmente it's less than 10.
In damage factor.
Yeah.
It's less than 10 in damage factor.
10?
And
Which
target.
unit it's in target damage factor?
The 10 is for damage factor.
Oh. Well, okay.
And target risk, which units you put there?
For which one? This one?
In target risk, where are the units?
For each of these?
Yeah, for the
Yeah,
target
so
risk.
for target risk, it's going to be, I think, probably meter square per year. And damage factor, I believe, is unitless. See, here's your total damage factor.
Yes, damage factor is 10, but in risk, I'm not sure which units.
It's meter square per year.
Okay, but these are for consequence, not or for risk, or is the same in the software?
Consequence is just meter squared for
Okay.
failure.
I'm not sure at this moment which are the target risks for this.
That's basically kind of the next piece of the puzzle.
Okay.
We need to, or you guys need to establish what these values are with the client, as well as their plan date. Usually it's 5 or 10 years from the last RBI study.
Yeah, usually are the next 10 years for the future.
So if I export the sheet, we could also use the Excel sheet to fill in. We just need to walk through the tabs. Would someone like to give it a shot going through the middle? They can share their screen and give it a try.
Andrés dice que si quiere probar con el ítem del medio. O alguno de ustedes.
No te escucho muy bien, Fernando, disculpa. No les copié.
Que si alguien
Es
quiere
de-
intentar. hacer-
compartir. Ok, claro. Un segundo. Give me a second, please.
Oh, Rush.
Un segundo, por favor.
Joel, after this,
Yes.
we can make a test making the contrary process. Put in, I don't know, maybe a file and import to the system and check if it's link it with the asset that we already have in the platform.
I'm not sure I understand the question, sorry.
The reverse process, if we upload a file and open in the platform and see what happened in there.
No, unfortunately, I don't think it would work that way.
Import a file to the RBI and check
Yeah, but
what happened.
you can't import just any random file. It needs to be that template,
Yeah, I know, but if
and I'm not sure I understand the question.
fill a file in Excel sheet and then import to the system and see how it works.
Oh yeah, sure.
Okay.
That's what I thought you were sharing your screen to do.
Just 1 second, please. I'm trying to log in. No, I don't know why I'm not able to enter. No, there's a problem with my
Okay, Joe, can we make the test of filling the spreadsheet and then importing to the Antea software?
Yeah, sure.
I have problems to enter yo. Maybe, no sé, Evelyn o alguien que tenga acceso en este momento. No entra ni llega el mensaje de restablecer.
¿Alguien más está teniendo dificultad de acceso a la plataforma? Giovanni, Alan, David.
Ok, ya parece que me llegó una temporal. Voy a intentar y si no, comparto de nuevo. Porque parece que llegó una. Un segundo. Yes. Voy a compartir. I will share my screen. Okay. It's here, yeah?
Yes.
Okay. Let me update this. Okay. Mm. No sé qué pasa.
What's happening?
No sé qué pasa. Sí. Segundo, reviso una cosa. Yeah. Now.
Okay, so click on that study on the left-hand side.
Sorry, could you repeat, please?
Yeah, so on the left-hand side, do you see where it says PSLCVQ?
Here.
Yeah, click that row.
Okay.
And then now, the third subtab, results.
Results, I don't.
I can't.
Here.
You have it in Spanish, so it's hard for me.
Okay, resultados, yeah. It's in Spanish, sorry.
Import, export.
Or
Importación y exportación.
no lo veo. Let me see.
Está en la viñeta coloreada ahí arriba. Esa.
Acá. Here.
I have zero Spanish. I apologize.
Don't worry about it. Esa,
So if you left click that one,
esa.
and then yes.
Descarga contestación.
Okay.
So now if you click on basic data on the bottom left, those are different sheets. Basic data we should start with. You're going to want to enable editing, habilitar edición, at the top.
Habilitar edición. Arriba. El archivo, el documento. Eso. Ahora, una vez que tengamos eso, ya si toca repetir de una columna a otra, lo podemos hacer. De una fila a otra.
Row 6 is the middle, row 7 is the bottom. If you scroll to the right, basically we need to fill in the data here in row 6 and 7.
Okay. Okay, this is the sheet for the input if we need to import the data in this way.
Yes.
Okay.
But notice that
this is just for vessel, yeah?
Yeah, just for that column. So what we need to do, I think, is add all of your assets to the RBI study.
Yeah. Okay.
So that they show up in one Excel sheet and you can fill the Excel sheet out and we can import. This sheet will only be for this column.
Okay. Joel, which is the better way to prepare the spreadsheet? Selecting the asset in the software first and then generate a spreadsheet?
Yeah,
or
that's how you have to do it.
To try to avoid any name or code conflict, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I don't even know that you could go the other way. Like you basically have to add the items first to the study and then download the Excel sheet.
Okay. And
that'll be the easiest way.
Okay, and then if we have like this one, a column that have 3 chambers, has to be put in manually, or could include it in the spreadsheet?
So I probably should take over after. Like we can do this one using the Excel just so you get used to it, and then I can talk about how we basically build all the RBI parts for your assets and then basically add all the assets to the study.
Because until Friday we will finish the systematization and we will have all the assets already defined, including lines, and then we can have the list of assets that has to be included in the study.
So once you have that list, we'll need to add those assets to this RBI study. And then export the Excel sheet, and then we can use the Excel sheet to input the parameters.
Okay, let me know if I understood well. Send to you the spreadsheet with all the list of assets, or we have to manually select it from the system, from the IDMS or from the RBI?
So we need to create the RBI parts. Remember at the very beginning how I created the RBI parts and how I created the top, middle, and bottom? We need to do that for each asset, but we can do it using an Excel sheet.
Okay.
But it's a separate one from this.
Okay. Just a question, Joel. For this is a generic number.
You can ignore that number.
Okay. And there is a way to identify obligatory fields. I don't know, or I can identify in this Excel sheet all maybe are obligatory or not. There is any way, or we need to do all of this with all the assets, first of all in the software, and after that to download.
So it's best to kind of do one in the software and download it like you have. That way you know which ones to download. It doesn't really have a way to identify what's required because there's so many different options and kind of just decisions. And if you answer yes to one question, it can take you down like basically another branch in the algorithm. So there's not really a way to like make the required fields in the Excel sheet. We can do it in the interface because we can code all those different decision trees, but on the Excel sheet, it's not so simple.
Based on your experience, that what you saw before selecting the values that we have to input. The time that you use in the software is greater or lower than using the spreadsheet, the Excel sheet? Because I assume that it has to be the correct process to make it.
Yeah, most people use a combination of both, I guess.
We can put the general information in the spreadsheet, upload, and then open one of each and complete the information that I sent.
Yeah, and then that way, when you export the Excel sheet again, you'll have basically you'll have the parameters that you needed for the previous one that you completed in the software. So you kind of know, since I've already put a value for these other ones, I probably need a value as well. Then you can import, and it's probably a little bit of an iterative process, but that's kind of how people approach it, I believe, when completing it in math, without not just going one by one inside the software.
Okay.
But like I said, really the first step is going to be creating the RBI parts in mass. Once you get the list identified of assets that need to be in the RBI study.
Let me just one second. David, ¿ya tenemos completada la lista de activos o nos falta algo todavía? De sistematización.
Hola, hola. Faltaría la parte de gas combustible. ¿Se escucha?
Sí, se escucha.
Y
¿Y
una
eso?
revisada la parte.
¿Y eso hasta
Hola.
cuándo lo tenemos? ¿Hasta cuándo lo podemos tener?
Creo que esta semana. No debería pasar esta semana. Mañana.
Okay.
Hola.
Joel, then until Friday, we will have the final list of assets.
Okay.
Because David is checking only one unit process and completing the last one, and after that we will have the complete list of lines and equipment, and that has to be part of the study. And then based on what format we can share that list with you to make again this process to try to start with you, put it in the RBI system.
So Friday you will have the list, or like by the end of the day Friday?
Okay.
Sorry, that was a question.
Okay. ¿Es al principio del día o al final del día viernes que lo vas a tener, David?
Al final. Hola,
Yeah.
¿se escucha?
Sí. At the end of the Friday.
Okay, so Monday, let's move the training from, instead of tomorrow, we'll move it to Monday so that we have the list and I can walk through adding all the RBI parts for all those assets. And
Okay.
basically by the end of the day or the end of that training session, we'll have the Excel sheet for you
Okay.
that you can start inputting in to import.
Okay. We can pass to IDMS platform and I have some question to make you to see how can we make some activities there. For example,
What do you mean?
in the list of assets that you have in the system, in the IDMS, are the modules, and inside the modules has line, and there is no identification of those lines in the module, and maybe we will have to include it manually. Can you show us how to do it?
Yeah, sure. Let's focus on RBI first, though. You got a lot of stuff to do for RBI.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But we can probably visit that, but I feel you should focus on RBI. That's your main deliverable, isn't it?
Where can I see Joe the all the asset tree for YPFB? Here.
What was the question, sorry?
Where can I see all the asset tree for
Oh,
YPFB?
Anagráfico.
Anagráfico here. Okay. Yeah, this is the all the database, yeah.
Mm-hmm. You just click on any asset.
What is this tool generic?
It's
Generic
instruments.
Tools. Okay.
Instrumentation.
And this is piping.
Yes.
Okay.
Embalaje is module.
Okay.
Pumps.
Pumps. Okay.
Compressors.
And PSP. Okay. Safety valves. Regulation valves. Okay. Great. We can.
Each one should have a P&ID position.
Sorry.
Cada activo tiene una vinculación con el PNI.
Okay, yeah. Okay. This is why.
Joel, if you want.
Okay. It's linked to the PNID.
Yes.
Oh, great. That's nice. Okay, yes. Okay.
Oh, excuse me.
Nice. For example, this one. We can view this. Okay, this is the tower. Oh, great. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I don't know if we're going to continue with anything else here or
Today,
what is
probably we don't need to. I think we could just put some time back on your guys' calendars. And we'll meet again Monday once we have the list. And we'll work on creating an RBI part for the whole list.
Uh-huh.
And that way we can basically add all of those RBI parts to the RBI study so that we'll download a sheet to have all the assets on one sheet. And then you can start inputting parameters into the sheet.
Okay. For example, in the case of the some lines are inside of the module and are not shown in the asset tree, the RBI module will receive it.
Not sure I'm following. You're saying there's lines that are not created?
Yeah.
You'll need to create them or you won't be able to add them to the RBI study.
Okay. Then we will have to create it first in the asset tree and then include it. Okay.
Yep. We can go over that. If it's required to add them to the RBI study, we'll need to create them. But we can do that on Monday.
Okay. Okay. Because we have in the first.
Yeah, we can create here, Fernando, I guess.
Yeah.
Create loop and a set and a list of items. Okay, nice.
Do you want to show us the kind of deliverable generated by the example of the RBI?
What do you mean?
The deliverable that generate the example that you make.
What about it?
If you want to show to us.
I will stop to share my screen, Joel. Maybe you want to share your screen.
Yeah, I'm just not quite sure I understand what you mean by the deliverables. What do you mean?
What generate the software?
Well, first of all,
the output for the risk assessment.
If we don't get better ideas of these values, we're not really going to have much deliverables. We just put arbitrary values in here.
Entonces,
so anything we generate isn't going to have much value, but like here's the inspection plan.
There is a template for the export, maybe like a report or something.
Okay. So there's a summary report and a quantitative report.
Okay, let's see. Okay. That was what you were asking for, Fernando?
Sí. Yeah.
And it can do it for the whole study. This is just one asset, I believe.
Print, sorry, okay.
Oh, yeah, here.
Yeah, just a question. At the inspection plan, there is a recommended technique or entity or just date?
Right. If we go back here, it's in a table. We have the damage factor notes. So for each damage factor type, there's an inspection effectiveness category, and it will tell you here basically what to do for an intrusive inspection or a non-intrusive inspection.
Okay, great. This is the meaning of what high reliability and inspection or something. There are recommended techniques. Okay. All right. Great.
And then what we can do too is we can send it to, well, right now I can't. If we close it, we can basically create schedules in the IDMS related to the RBI.
Okay.
So right now, the schedule isn't actually created in the IDMS. We would need to go create it for February 12th, 2025, blah, blah, blah. We would actually need to go calculate, or not calculate that, create that inside the IDMS. But this button basically allows you to do it in mass. But since it's still open, we can't do that at this stage. It's kind of the last step. And also on the RBI data tab now, now that we have a completed study done, we should see some summary data here. Yeah. So we can collapse this a little.
Okay.
Here we can see all the parameters that we input, right?
Okay.
Kind of all for informational purposes. And then the plan details.
Okay, that's the inspection plan, yeah.
But it, like I say, it'll also get created on the schedules tab. But since the study's open, we can't send it this information here yet. It's done at the very end.
Joe, then if we can have the list before, I will send it to you. I will share it with you, okay? And continue with this on Monday.
Sounds good to me. We'll talk to you guys on Monday.
Yeah, perfect. If I can have it before, I will share with you the list, and if we make something